Hello and welcome to Brodual. This time we're taking a look at the Mage module from Perkus Maximus. This module covers all magical skills and spells. It also aims to remove some of the limitations from the vanilla spell system, where spells generally just improve on and replace older versions of themselves. So now instead all spells should stay useful, and as you level up the skill and choose perks, you should notice improvements across the board. In total, the module adds approximately 200 new spells to the game, and in general the cost of the spellcasting will no longer scale with the player. This is because the module scraps the vanilla trademark across the magical skill trees. So where you'd usually find novice to master perks that reduce casting costs, you'll now find similarly named perks that grant a random spell when chosen, as well as coming with their own passive effects. These effects will now also be more specific and helpful to the individual trees. So for example, the destruction tree comes with buffs that increase AoE spell damage, damage over time, and more. Whereas the Conjuration perks will increase summon duration and other things specifically related to that tree. On top of that, your skill level and enchantments won't decrease the casting cost either, but instead boost your spell's magnitude and power. So as you level up and choose your core perks, you should notice a direct difference in your magical power and arsenal. In the introduction video to Perkus Maximus, I mentioned a new special type of perk for each of the trees. Well, the magical version of these perks are called focus perks, and each skill tree contains two. However, it's important to keep in mind that you can only choose one focus perk across all of the trees, so choose wisely. So that's the general magical changes out of the way, but let's take a closer look at each of the trees. Alteration comes with a bunch of new magical archetypes, including teleportation, kinetics, weapon enhancements and more. It's now the ultimate utility tree, and you can use it to take full advantage of all the other magical paths. So on its own it's good, but combined with a mastery in other magical areas, you'll be an unstoppable force. The new perks will let you cast spells with health instead of magicka, cast spells when you swing your weapon, and there's even a perk that'll let you take a secondary focus skill. One of the perks for the Alteration tree can turn you into the Creator, allowing you to use a new universal device that multiplies and amplifies magical projectiles. Alternatively, you can become the Sphere Bender, which lets you summon a new sun, sucking in any nearby enemies straight into it. The new Conjuration tree helps fully flesh out the reanimation features in the game, giving you increased control over your undead armies. An adept Conjuration user will be able to harvest the bones and guts of fallen enemies, turning them into skeletons, allowing you to craft an army of undead servants. A master, however, will be able to do much more. For example, you can fuse your own magical abilities into your followers and manipulate Daedra. The focus perks will either let you become the Necromage, allowing you to summon an entire undead army with ease, or the Gatekeeper, giving you the key to opening an uncontrollable Oblivion Gate for a deadly stream of visitors. The Destruction tree is now pretty interesting. It still very much follows the fire, magic and ice pattern, but now introduces a new multi-element archetype. On its own that's not much, but the new perks give a variety of new effects to each element. You can super freeze your frost spells to deal physical damage against enemies with a frost resistance. Shock spells will now electrify heavily armoured enemies, and your fire spells can cause a corpse to get so heated after death that it deals burning damage to nearby enemies. On top of that, several perks will also take your skill build and current status into account before applying their effects. So if you focus your studies on a single element, you'll receive buffs, and you can also choose a concentration perk, where the amount of magicka you have changes the power of your spells. So when you combine these new effects with the addition of multi-element spells, things become really interesting in battle. One of the focus perks here will unlock a new ability to let you become the Elementalist, unlocking a master tri-elemental spell. Or you can unlock the Siege mode, giving you the power to become a true battle mage powerhouse. The Illusion tree is one of our favourites. Phantoms are back from Skyrim redone, and if you're unfamiliar, they're basically a new type of follower that illusion users can manipulate. The new Illusion tree comes with spells and perks that promote combos to achieve the best results. You can summon phantoms right next to your enemies to force them into combat, as well as causing negative effects when they're killed. On the other side of the tree you can also become a master manipulator, charming enemies into becoming your follower, extracting information at a distance, and even forcing your enemies to kill themselves. The focus perks let you become the Puppet Master or the Mind Dweller, each unlocking spells for only a true Master Illusionist. The Restoration tree takes full advantage of the magic of life, which also includes death. It's not as powerful as something like Destruction magic, and it's not as death focused as Conjuration, but it lets you take full advantage of new plagues, curses, auras and more to buff both friendlies and weaken enemies. You can watch spiders spawn from an enemy's corpse or watch them slowly die of poison. Alternatively, the new auras and healing abilities give you a wider variety of ways to help your allies. And the new mirror warding ability will not only protect you from incoming spells, but actually deflect them back at your enemies. The focus perks here will either let you become the Idol, giving you the power to manipulate your own life force to save allies or hurt enemies. Or you could become the Defiler, binding your life force to an enemy in an equally deadly and life-saving curse. And finally, the Enchanting tree. I touched on this in the first episode, but put simply, the tree is no longer filled with passives that slowly buff your enchantment powers. You can do things like enchant a weapon to fight for you in battle, and tie magic to the arrows you fire, so it's not just limited to weapon enhancements. Unlike the other trees, enchanting only comes with a single focus perk. This will let you use the Great Infusion, giving you the ability to use an extremely powerful enchantment that consumes dragon souls to stay active. Another thing to note is that Perkus Maximus adds Winter Mist as an optional add-on, which if you've seen our spotlight, you'll know is an enchantment overhaul, adding dozens of new options for your weapons and armors. Overall, the new magical trees definitely provide several new paths for your character to take. There's also a huge amount of interactivity and fluidity within each perk. Things will constantly change depending on the situation, and you'll definitely have to think more about how you want to take advantage of your new magical powers. So if you're ready to start a mage, then we think it's a great choice. But if it doesn't sound like your cup of tea, then hang around for our third Perkus Maximus episode covering the warrior trees. So until then, you can find everything you need down below, and as always be sure to leave an endorsement on any mod you enjoy, and thanks for watching.